I better go get that. So yeah, that song's been on several playlists and songs playlists now. Raise the goal is to raise my numbers up on Spotify, and they're gaining. I'm more than double than what I was this time last month because I just got onto the Spotify system and the streaming shit back into it because I've been on there, but I haven't been active. So I'm just getting the algorithms to know that I'm back and this is who I is, and I got some good product. Check me out, put me out there. So it's been going good. I've been getting some great reviews, some great write ups. I got 3 articles written. You're not even mine is going to be played in Africa again, or not again, but Control was played first in Africa about a month ago, and that same station wants to play You're Not Even Mine next week or some shit like that. So that's dope. Music is being played, received all over the world. We got a lot of people listening out of Japan, Taiwan, even Russia and Ukraine. So they throwing bombs and listening to Control at the same time. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like they listening to my shit and killing each other at the same time. What's going on? What's really going on with that one? But yeah, so that's what it is. So KRS-1, if y'all know who KRS-1 is, you either old as I is, or you are up on your hip hop. So back in the day, this is when I was just a young screenwriter trying to get on out in LA, living in LA. Hadn't become a comic yet. What was I living? I was living with a music producer in Studio City. And how did I end up at the Key Club? I was at this club called the Keyhole Club, was it? So I think it was called the Keyhole Club. I don't remember how I ended up at that club at all. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So I was living in Studio City, and I used to work in Burbank at DirecTV with a partner of mine named Drew. Shout out to Drew Evans. Drew Down. And I didn't know who Drew was connected to like this. And he was connected to a famous rap group. I knew that much, but even then I didn't really know. I didn't know about that rap group too much. So Drew took me to this club, and I didn't realize that KRS-1 was performing. Maybe I did. I don't know. All that is vague to me. I just remember being at the bar in the back with Drew, kicking it, and one of the members of the famous group that I knew he was affiliated with was there. Maybe some others might have been. And in retrospect, it might have been more cast, famous cast than that I just didn't recognize because I was so new to the scene, and I was excited and enamored, like, oh, it's some shot callers in this bitch, like, here I am, I'm in the mix again. So I was taking that all in. It might have been some OG rappers up in that bitch that, that I could have been telling stories about that I didn't even realize was in that bitch. So, we in there. I can't tell you what the conversation was leading up to this point. I just remember they saying, okay, hey, the show about to start. And so Drew was like, hey, you want to go on stage? You want to, or follow me or whatever? And I was like, bet I'm with y'all. So I follow him. What we end up is, so KRS-1 is on stage, and so we in the back of him on stage. Like, we can see the crowd. So he doing his thing, and we are literally on stage, doing hype shit while he performing this shit. And that was the dopest shit ever. I have another connection to KRS-1 by a gig that I had, but That's another story. But yeah, so I wasn't even a rapper then. I was just affiliated with rappers. And so, like I said, in retrospect, it probably was some more cats in the audience that I didn't even recognize that was in the audience or that was there supporting, the God, KRS-1, the teacher. So, yeah. I've had thousands of micro experiences like that because I lived in LA. I lived all over LA, man. I lived in LA, I lived in Pacoima, I lived in I worked in Burbank. I want to say I lived in Burbank. Maybe I did at one point, I can't remember. I lived in I lived in South Central on 54th and Normandy with Drew. Well, I kicked it in North Hollywood. That was where my ex-manager lived at. Yeah, I was all Studio City. Studio City is where I got a lot of my big shots at. Studio City is, that's where the rich people live and shit. My neighbor, I could say my neighbor because I lived there. My neighbor was like, what's that little dude on Seinfeld? Jason Alexander. Like I would see him at the corner electronics store all the time. What's his name? Vin Diesel was always in that area. That's when I found out he was shorter than me and he had a bald spot. That shit tripped me out. I was like, what? I was so disappointed. I'm like, I'm bigger than him. What the fuck? Yeah, that was some interesting times living in Studio City. I really, really like Studio City. Like I was doing a little bit of everything. I was everywhere. Because the person I was living with in Studio City was a platinum producing recording artist. So he was making music for like the big labels, Sony Music, blah blah blah, whoever. And so that's how I learned to make music, was through him. But living with him allowed me opportunities that I probably wouldn't have got had I not lived with him. He didn't fulfill all of his obligation to me, which was I was there to write a television series for him or a series for like HBO for him, and I did that, and I still have that project. Anyway, that's another story because something similar came out on TV and it was successful. But anyway, mine is still viable because I have a angle that the way I wrote it was a little different. But anyway, he never fulfilled the complete thing that he was supposed to do. Like he was supposed to like hand deliver me to certain people to put me on as a writer on TV shows, this, that, and the third. And one time I fucked over an opportunity that he gave me, and I regret that shit. And she died too. She died like in the last 2 years. A renowned television producer named Unetta T. Boone. Look it up, IMDb. Unetta T. Boone. She produced a lot of black television shows, and every year this cat that I live with went to her Christmas party. She had apparently extravagant Christmas parties, and I was mad at him. And so I didn't follow up on going because I think he even asked me, "You sure you don't want to go?" And I was like, "No." And I think that might have been the day I was sneak moving. That's what it was. I was sneak moving out on his ass. I was a kid. I was mad at him, and instead of confronting him and talking to him, like a man, Drew helped me move out on his ass and shit. I'm mad because I left all my DVDs that I was collecting there and shit. He kept my movies. But yeah. But I had some great experiences living in Atlanta. I'm thinking about it, man. I got to work for and met one of the members of Digital Underground living there. I got a story about that, about being one of the first to be commissioned legally to write a movie about Tupac. I still got the materials for that and the book. That's another story. Living with that dude, yeah, man, that was the days, man. And I had a lot more experiences on different places that I lived, trying to pursue show business, man, and so that's what this channel, this Twitch live thing is really for is to, I'm an older cat in the business, and I want to share some of the experiences that, I came from Kalamazoo, Michigan, small town, known for murders and shit, but the wrong shit. But I came from that small town and was able to experience a lot of shit that I'm telling you. And my main motivation my whole life that kept me out of prison was I always wanted to be somebody. And I know might sound silly, but that motivation was strong as fuck. I always wanted to be somebody, and I knew having a felony would not prohibit me necessarily, but it would hinder me. And I never wanted to be like my father. And that shit stuck with me. And so, when I had an inclination or a thought, especially when I got older, I always thought the best way to make this shit happen is to go do that shit. And so that's how I moved throughout my life. And so I was like, if Hollywood is where it's at, I didn't want to go to New York because New York snowed, and I hated Michigan for that reason. So I was like, I didn't want to be anywhere cold. If I could handle the winter, I would have went to New York because it was closer to Michigan. But I don't like the winter, so I started my career actually started in Kalamazoo because I got my first movie deal in Kalamazoo, writing my first screenplay. But the real kickoff to everything in my life was when I moved out west. And so, I don't know why I kicked off into that tangent, but it was relevant. It's time for a song. That's what the people say. It's time for a song. Let me play another one. Let me play. Which one should I play? Oh, this is another pop song. I've been doing good on the pop songs, man. I'm pretty proud of myself. I've made 3 so far. Control being the first one. I played that last. I'm pretty proud of myself. I didn't think I would get into that genre, but why not? This one is called A Moment. This hasn't been released yet. I can't play this. My bad. Let's find something else. This hasn't been released yet. This ain't gonna be released until like the end of the month or some shit. Next month. Hold on. Let me play Control. Shit. I'll play Control. This is my first pop song. It's doing well on the playlist on Spotify. So check it out if you so choose. It's Control by Mr. Woosaa.
I have no time to wait. I come alive to make something beautiful. These voices in my head, they told me I should take something magical. Isn't it your body so lush?
go. Well, that was Control, everybody. That was Control. I fucked that up. God damn.